Hey guys, today I'm going to be messing around in my sketchbook, painting over this cute little frog sketch that I made the other night. I was actually getting ready for bed and I had this idea when I was washing my face, so as soon as I finished washing and drying my face, I ran down the stairs, grabbed my zippered pouch with my art supplies. I grabbed it so quickly that the markers flew out and hit the wall in various directions. I got my pencil and I just started drawing. After a short while, I was able to lay out probably 98% of what I had envisioned without much effort. I did have a little bit of trouble with the front leg, the one that is kicking, so I briefly tried out different poses, but then I decided to erase it and redraw the leg back into the position that I originally had it in. The sketch might not seem like much to people. I know there's so many talented artists out there, but I was so proud of myself. I drew something from imagination, from a vision, and it was pretty close to what I saw in my head. And that's kind of rare for me, but lately I've been getting a lot better at it. And I wanted to bring this up not because I just want to brag and toot my own horn, but because of a conversation I had recently, or rather a series of conversations that keep coming up that have the same theme. So, as a parent, whenever I go to the playground, we bump into friendly faces that we see frequently because we're on the same schedule. But whether it's a friendly face or a complete stranger, whenever I mention to someone that art is my hobby, I'll say that I do art, or, that I dabble in it, or things like that. People immediately start telling me some version of how, oh, I'm not creative, or I can't draw things, or I do a little bit, but I'm not very good at it. So recently, somebody told me that they couldn't just imagine something and just draw it out. And if that's you too, I want to assure you that that's normal. That's something that everybody goes through. Everyone has an artist inside of themselves, and we all have to do things to nurture that artistry that lives in ourselves. And it takes a lot of practice, and if you don't want to practice, then that's absolutely fine too. If you're happy with what you've got and you don't want it to change and you don't want to stress about it, and you think that trying to improve in any manner it is going to stress you out, then I don't want you to do that. But I do want people to know, whether they think they're an artist or not, that if you really want to change and improve your art skills or anything else that you want to do better than you already are, according to you, then you can achieve it. You can achieve anything you want to, and you have to know that it's about time and your commitment, and also, in my opinion, the ability to be okay with having sucky art and being okay with not getting to where you want to be right away, because that's gonna be inevitable. We're all gonna create really sucky art according to ourselves, and we're not gonna always be happy with it. It's not gonna be the result. Even if you have the vision right in your head and you get your pens and your pencils out and you try your hardest and it doesn't come out the way you think and you're unhappy with that, you have to accept that that's going to happen. And I think the difference between people who are kind of really, really advanced at art and people who tell themselves that they're just not good at something, the only difference is the person who appears more advanced at art. It's not that they're talented, it's that they have the comfort, I guess you could say, with struggling through the process, being okay with having less than ideal results, especially in the beginning, acknowledging that every time you try something new, it's not probably going to go the way you want it. I know that whenever I work on something really hard, especially when it pertains to drawing, I get better at it over time. And then when I try something different, like I pick up a new art medium and I try that out, I am not always happy with the result, or sometimes I choose a different subject to draw and then I realize I'm not good at that. I spent so much time perfecting, in my opinion, but getting better at portraits and sketching them and stuff like that. And when I tried to do plein air landscape paintings, I wasn't good at it at all. And it was such a struggle. And I just thought, wow, I'm a bad artist. But the thing is, you can't just take one experience like that and then apply it, the whole thing, as like a quality of yourself, because it's not a reflection of your whole character or your being or your abilities. It just means that the one time you tried something, it didn't work out. But if you can figure out what you didn't like about it and what you did like, all you have to do is leave behind the things that you don't like, keep the things that you do like, and then try to figure out what you wanted out of it and didn't want, and then try to apply that to the next piece of art that you do. And then over time, it becomes more second nature and you don't have to think about it so much. And as long as you keep doing that, you're going to get better and better, and you're going to be happier with your result, and you're going to feel good about yourself. The other thing I wanted to mention is that whether you consider yourself an artist or not, but you dabble in it, it's your hobby, you do it for fun, whatever, you're still doing art, and it doesn't have to be any sort of way, because art is exactly whatever you need it to be for you. So you don't need to show it to anybody, and even if you do, nobody has the right to tell you if that's art or not art. And I think that some people have a lot of shame around saying that they're an artist and showing their work and things like that, because they think that it's not good enough, and maybe they think that they're not worthy of the label of artist. And that's something that I've gone through myself. I sometimes am still shy to say that I am an artist, because I think that maybe deep down I feel like I have to achieve a certain level of artistry before I can really say that. Or maybe I'm afraid that I think other people are going to judge me if I say that I'm an artist, and then if they see my work they think that, oh, it's not that good or something like that. And I think that ultimately anybody should be able to call themselves an artist if that's what they feel they are, and you don't need to wait until a certain level of artistry to achieve that title. As soon as you start drawing and you consider yourself an artist, then you are. Now back to the topic of improving art. If that's something you're interested in doing, then start doing studies. Study art as much as you can. Study light and form. Start with the fundamentals. Do the things that you feel like are going to be hard, because every time you try, you're going to get better at it. I think especially if you want to start drawing things from imagination, then you need to start doing studies of whatever you want to draw. So whether that's people or animals, start doing anatomy studies of the human body or of different animals. Learn your skeletal structure and things like that. And It's not to be an expert at human anatomy or animal anatomy and know every bone and the name of it or anything, but it's more so that you get primed with the muscle memory of how things are shaped, so that when you do go to draw from imagination, you just start creating the shapes, the simplified versions of that, and you know what looks funny and what needs to be fixed. And the idea is to make something passable and believable, not to be realistic or accurate. It's all about creating an illusion of what looks right to the human eye, because that's all that art is. It's an illusion. So just focus on what you need to do to make that illusion believable. So those are just my thoughts on art and my approach to improving art. I hope you found that helpful, and I encourage you to use your sketchbook exactly what it's designed for, which is playing, experimenting in, and doing studies of whatever interests you. Exactly like I'm doing here with this frog. And this actually isn't the first frog I've ever done. I did one about a week ago, and while I thought it was pretty decent, I thought that the color was a bit flat and dark. I had intentionally made it a more olivey color, but I wasn't pushing the light and the shadow, and this time I felt like I really improved that here. Now that I've more or less finished this sketchbook page, I can see that I wish that the frog was brighter in color, kind of like the background, which is so vibrant and saturated. I also wasn't necessarily pleased with the texture of the Posca. There were these weird little, I don't know, texture bits, not sure what to call them. And maybe that's just because it's not the right surface or paper, but I was just trying something out. And overall, I think I like how it came out, other than some of the color things that I mentioned. But that's life as an artist. You do something, you try something, and you don't know until you do it. So you have to try. I hope that you guys keep experimenting and having fun and trying something and seeing if you might end up surprising yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.